guys, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me on a brand new video series that I'm starting today. It's called Stampin' Up 3D Wednesdays. So each Wednesday I'm going to make some type of 3D project. It may be a box, or it may be like a 3D card, that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of going with the flow. But today what I did is I made a really fun gift pouch using the mini treat bag thinlits, and I'm going to show you how I created that. And along with that framelit set, I have used the Botanical Gardens Builder framelits, and you can find this bundle, and I highly recommend getting this bundle if you have not picked this up yet. You can find this in our Stampin' Up Occasions catalog. This goes through the end of this month, and it's on page 26 and 27. I used this these framelits right here along with the Botanical Blooms stamp set. Now there is a bundle that does include the designer series paper, and you can save 15% if you purchase all of that together. I will let you know that this is carrying over into the new catalog that is starting next Wednesday, but there is no bundle. So it will cost you more if you decide to get it later. So take advantage of the sale, of that sale price, and pick it up today. And as of today's recording, which is May 25th, the designer series paper is still available. So nothing that has not sold out. That is not carrying over. So just the stamps and the framelits. Now I also used Sweet Sayings. This is the other stamp set that you can find in our Occasions catalog. On page 41, really great sentiments that have a variety of uses. And so I used that Celebrate You to make this little gift pouch that, you know, could be used for a birthday, for some type of event that has happened to them, let's say graduation. You know, it can be a teacher's end of the year gift, you know, just celebrating what an awesome teacher they were. You know, that Celebrate You can be used for a variety of occasions. Now this, I'm hoping that this doesn't look all that, it's very detailed, let me put it this way, but I'm hoping that this doesn't look too advanced and overwhelming. I will say that it has multiple steps, but these framelits make it super easy. And I normally don't show you those steps of me putting the paper through the card, through the Big Shot and the die cutting machine and everything, but I thought today that I would. Let me know what y'all think about that. If this video is too long, or if it's too many steps that y'all already know what to do, just you know, comment below and give me some feedback. You know, I want to make sure that I keep it interesting for the more seasoned stampers, but also I want to make it seem approachable to those stampers who may be brand new to our craft. So this was a really fun little project to make. It came together really quickly, and I'll show you all the products that I used, and why don't we get started? Okay, so I've got my Big Shot die cutting machine here, and what I'm using is our magnetic platform and then 2 plates. So the way that you want to cut your paper for the mini treat bag is the main piece of the treat bag is 6 inches wide. So you want to take, I'm using Pool Party cardstock, so you want to take your regular piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock and just cut it where one panel is going to be 6 inches wide. And so you're just going to place that in your Big Shot, and with the magnetic platform, it's going to keep it in place. Now you do want to make sure that when you are putting your die cut through the Big Shot that it's lined up perfectly. This is about the same width as this part of the machine, and you don't want to crank it through with this being kind of cattywampus, because first of all it won't cut the paper, but also you'll do damage to your die cut, or your framelit, excuse me. Okay, so what I've done is I've put that on here. I'm putting the top plate to make that sandwich. So you've got the platform and then the 2 acrylic plates in between the paper. And then I'm just going to crank this through. And sometimes I just kind of like to go back and forth just to make sure I've got a good, I scored everything and everything cut well. And then just pop it out. And so it looks like that. So it gives us all of the score marks and everything. All right, and so then with the other piece, you're just going to put that on the platform and get the smaller piece, which is like this, and just put it right there and just run this through the Big Shot the same way. And that piece just pops right out. So we've got the 2 pieces to put our mini treat bag together. I'm going to do all of the die cutting at once just to get that out of the way. That's the easiest way that I've found to do this. Okay, so if we look back at our sample, I am using Watermelon Wonder, Daffodil Delight, and Pear Pizzazz cardstocks. So what I like to do is just to get out my scraps, and I keep all of my scraps in these little plastic folders and use my P-Touch to label them. I'm just going to grab scraps and we are just going to cut out the die cuts. And this is what it looks like. We're going to be using this die cut right here. We're going to use this twice. We're going to be using the larger leaf. And then we're going to use the smaller flower right here. And then this is the die cut that I used to make the centerpieces. And then this one. Okay, so I'm going to put this off to the side. And the great thing with this is we can cut multiple pieces at the same time. So I've got a scrap right here. So I'm going to go ahead and line this flower up. And then I need one of those. And then I'm going to get some Pear Pizzazz scraps and go ahead and start cutting my leaves. I'm going to need 3 of the leaves. So this is a really big time saver if you think about it this way. And just run that through the Big Shot. Now I'm going to go back and forth a couple of times because the flowers that are I'm cutting out on the Watermelon Wonder, those are a little more intricate. And so just one pass I found does not cut out all the detail. Okay, there's the leaf. Okay, then what I like to do is just take my paper piercer and just poke through there. Oops. And that makes it easier to release. And then you should be able to see how the petals are going to separate and really give it that nice 3D dimension. We need that flower. Okay, let's run that through. Just poke this out again. You may have some little stray pieces of cardstock that's real easy to remove. Okay, now let's just pop this little guy out. Okay, there's that, and then our other leaf, and we just need one more leaf. And then we will be all done with the die cutting part. Okay, so we've got all of our pieces cut out, and I am going to be using the coordinating stamp from Botanical Blooms. I'm going to be using this image right here, the veining of the leaves, and I'm going to just give those leaves some detail. And I am just going to be using Pear Pizzazz ink, just do some tone-on-tone stamping. I've got my image already here on the block, so just ink up, and we're going to just stamp that vein on the leaves on all three of them. And like I said, it just gives it a little bit of added interest. And there's stamps that you can use on the flowers as well, but I'm just doing just the leaves. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do the stamping for the Celebrate You. I've just cut this piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is 1.25 inches wide, and then I'm just going to use the banner punch to notch it, and then I'll determine the length once I start putting all of this together. So I'm just using Watermelon Wonder, and like I mentioned earlier, the Celebrate You is coming from the Sweet Saying stamp set in the Stampin' Up Occasions catalog. And I'm just going to just stamp it right there in the middle. That looks good. Okay, then I'm going to take our banner triple punch, and the way I like to notch this is to place the cardstock in facing towards me, and then obviously having it upside down, and then from here I can make sure that the paper is placed evenly in the punch, and then just punch it out. And so that gives me that perfect notch. And like I said, I'm going to be cutting this down once we start putting everything together. Then the only other thing that you're going to want to do is to get some Pool Party Designer Series paper. This is coming from the Subtles Designer Series paper stack. I'm going to use that polka dot print. And I have cut this 1.5 inches wide. I think that's it. Yes, 1.5 inches wide, and then I made it longer than the pouch, and I'll just trim that off in just a minute. So I'm going to put those off to the side, but let's go ahead and get our treat pouch, our mini treat bag, and you'll want to get your bone folder out because you want to make sure that you give the score marks a good crease with your bone folder. And this is a really nice size treat bag. If you don't have this in your Stampin' supplies yet, you can actually really put a nice quantity of things in there. Okay, and when you're folding this, make sure that you are folding it the correct way. Okay, so the way you want to lay it out is the larger portion, just have this flap on the right, and then this is going to go on the left hand side, and it's going to fit together like so. So what I'm going to do first is, and I like to use our tear and tape adhesive. I'm just going to move this away. I'm going to put adhesive right here on this flap. And I really like this. It's easy to tear. Just burnish that really well, and then just peel off the backing strip. And I'm going to have all of the products that I used linked below on the YouTube video in the description box, as well as a blog post on my blog, which you can head on over to istampin.com to find out more information there. You can always find out all the details on my blog. So you can see there that I just lined up the bottom piece to where that score mark is. And then we're going to fold this over, and I'm going to have this flap be on the outside. So I'm going to put my adhesive on the smaller flap and just get it as close to the edge as possible. Again, just burnish it with your fingers and then just peel it off. And there's a few more days left to my Mystery Hostess giveaway, so I would love for y'all to enter that. And if you, you get one entry for every $25 that you spend. So if you happen to purchase the bundle that's in the Occasions catalog, that would get you 2 entries. And so what I do is I randomly draw from everyone who has entered into the contest. I randomly draw a winner, and that person will win all of the Stampin' Rewards that has accumulated in the month of May. And I will randomly draw a person on June 1st. So, and with that being the beginning of the catalog, you could actually use your Stampin' Rewards on new product from the catalog. How exciting is that? So the details of that will be on my blog for you to use the correct hostess code, as well as in the video notes as on this video as well. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach the designer series paper to the front of the treat bag, and I'm just going to use snail for that. And then if it's a little bit long, I'll just take my scissors and trim off the excess. And so I'm going to put that in the middle of that treat bag. And like I said, just take your scissors and just trim off the excess. There we go. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start building up our leaves and flowers. And what I did is I just used our mini glue dots, and this was really simple. So just kind of place them like so. The part that takes the longest is just all that die cutting. And I'm just putting one glue dot on the back of these die cuts. I want them to be able to have some movement, so I didn't want to put a lot of adhesive on there. If you want to do that, you know, of course, that's your choice. So just give this flower that 3D look that it's meant to have. Just another glue dot, put that right there in the middle. And this is going to go kind of up here. And then this flower is going to come down over here. And you know, with this being a gift, you know, you can have things hanging off. You know, you're not going to be mailing this necessarily. So don't be concerned about having to keep all of these elements within the space of the treat bag. And then I'm going to come in with this flower. And I just realized that there's something that I forgot to die cut, so I'll need to go do that real quick. Okay, and then that flower is going to go this. So you can see how I used the flowers to kind of cover up the stems. And then the yellow center of the flower is going to go on the Watermelon Wonder flower. And then this is going to go on the Daffodil Delight. Let me just poke this out. And the reason why I cut 2 out is I wanted this to be a little bit more substantial, and I'm going to offset it where the little petals are like so. So again, I'm just going to use glue dots for this. put that on the Daffodil Delight. And if y'all have any questions over any of these products that I used today, you know, please don't hesitate to contact me. You can always comment on this video, or head on over to my blog and you can reach out to me over there. There's a contact box. And let's see, I just kind of want to rotate it. There we go. So it's going to look like that. And then once you have these attached, then you can come back in, and if you want to kind of fluff these up and give them dimension, you can. All right, so the very last thing we're going to do is just, or one of the last things we're going to do is just tuck this in. I'm going to go ahead and trim this off a little bit. Make that straight. Go. And use snail. And we're just going to tuck that in under the flowers. And again, this can be hanging off as well. Make sure that's straight. And then the last thing that I did, just to give it just a little bit of bling, is I took our basic rhinestones, and the larger ones you can put on these larger flowers. And then I'll use the medium-sized one for this one. And that just gives it just a little bit of bling. And there you have it. And so like I said, you know, you could put in, you know, any kind of treat. If you wanted to use this as like a gift card holder, you can. If you want to put, you know, little chocolates in a cello bag and then tie it up with a cute ribbon, you definitely could do that. So just a lot of different choices. And that Botanical Builders framelit set, I mean, there are just so many options you can use with this. So I highly recommend looking at that in the Occasions catalog. Like I said, I think that's on page 26 and 27 of the Stampin' Up! Occasions catalog. It does go through the end of it goes through the end of the month, which is next Tuesday. So I hope y'all liked today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Head on over to my blog and subscribe to my newsletter. I have exclusive content every week, and I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. I'm getting close to 2,000 subscribers, and I've got something special planned for when I hit that 2,000 subscriber mark. All right, guys, thank you so much, and please join me on Friday for Stampin' Basics 101. Bye, guys.